We will not back down from a fight, not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake.
In a bold move that has sent shockwaves through the electric vehicle (EV) industry, Canada recently signed a groundbreaking trade agreement with the European Union (EU) to accelerate the transition to electric mobility. This deal comes at a pivotal moment, as US President Donald Trump's threat to impose tariffs as high as 100% on Canadian vehicles and metals looms large. Faced with the possibility of severe trade disruptions, Canada is pivoting toward the EU to protect its growing EV market and reduce its dependence on the US. Can this deal spell the end of Tesla's dominance? Let's dive in. Canada's EV commitment. Canada's commitment to electric vehicles, EVs.
But Canada now has its first ever fully functional, fully Canadian electric vehicle.
Has evolved significantly over the past few years, transitioning from a green vision into a well-defined, ambitious national strategy. The government's objective is clear: to have 10% of all new car sales in Canada be electric by 2025, with hopes of surpassing that target as soon as possible. This initiative is part of Canada's broader effort to reduce carbon emissions, reduce its dependence on fossil fuels, and position the country as a leader in green technologies globally. The transition to electric mobility is not only seen as a means to protect the environment, but also as an opportunity for Canada to embrace innovation and remain competitive in the green economy. The growth of the electric vehicle market in Canada has been remarkable. While Canada still lags behind several European countries in EV adoption, the country has seen rapid growth in recent years. In 2023, Canada's electric vehicle sales increased by 35%.
Well, sales of electric vehicles are nowhere near what the federal government needs them to be if they want to hit their goal of 60% of auto sales by 2030.
Compared to the previous year. This growth signals a positive shift in consumer behavior, indicating that more Canadians are confident in electric mobility and are increasingly considering electric cars as a practical alternative to traditional internal combustion engine (ICE) vehicles. This surge in EV sales is attributed to several factors, including government incentives, the expansion of charging infrastructure, and greater public awareness of the environmental and financial benefits of electric vehicles. As a result, Canada is making significant strides toward its goal of reducing the environmental impact of transportation. The Canadian government has implemented a variety of subsidies, tax credits, and rebates to make electric vehicles more accessible and affordable for consumers. These measures have proven effective in driving the demand for EVs and making them a viable option for many car buyers. In addition to federal incentives, many provinces have introduced their own rebate programs, further encouraging consumers to make the switch to electric cars. The establishment of national and provincial rebates has helped make the upfront cost of electric vehicles competitive with that of ICE vehicles, particularly when factoring in the long-term savings from lower fuel and maintenance costs. As EV technology continues to improve, the financial gap between electric and traditional vehicles is expected to continue to close, making EVs an increasingly attractive option. In addition to fostering demand for electric vehicles, Canada's government is focused on supporting the growth of the electric vehicle manufacturing industry. Canada is rich in natural resources, including lithium, cobalt, and nickel, which are essential for the production of EV batteries.
Well, there's been another major deal to build electric cars and batteries in Canada.
By leveraging these abundant critical minerals, Canada is positioning itself as a central player in the global electric vehicle supply chain. The country has already attracted significant investments in EV battery manufacturing.
Sticking with business, Canada's investment into electric vehicle production has appeared to hit the brakes again after a planned battery plant stopped.
With large companies like General Motors and Tesla setting up production facilities in Canada, these investments are vital for increasing production capacity and ensuring that Canada remains competitive in the rapidly growing global EV market. A crucial aspect of Canada's strategy is its desire to establish a robust domestic EV manufacturing industry. The Canadian government is committed to creating a network of gigafactories to produce both electric vehicles and EV batteries.
Automakers and all levels of government are making investments in electric car technology, from battery plants to charging stations.
This initiative is designed to reduce Canada's reliance on foreign imports, lower production costs, and strengthen its position in the green economy. Establishing these high-tech manufacturing hubs is also expected to create thousands of jobs, which will help fuel the country's economic growth. The development of a domestic EV manufacturing industry will be critical for Canada's long-term success in the electric vehicle market and for building a sustainable and innovative economy. Despite the impressive growth of the EV market, Canada's automotive sector faces challenges due to the threat of tariffs from the United States. Historically, Canada has relied heavily on the US market for its automotive exports, which has left it vulnerable to changes in trade policy. The potential imposition of tariffs, especially under the previous US administration, has heightened these concerns. As tensions between Canada and the US continue to rise, particularly with the possibility of Donald Trump's proposed tariffs on Canadian vehicles and metals, Canada must find ways to diversify its trade relationships to protect its EV future. In light of these concerns, Canada's pivot toward the European Union, EU, has become an increasingly important strategic move. The EU offers a significant opportunity for Canada to secure a more stable and profitable market for its electric vehicles and to position itself as a key player in the global green economy. Canada's commitment to electric vehicles is playing a pivotal role in shaping the future of its automotive industry and its position in the global green economy. With ambitious targets, government support, and a well-defined strategy to reduce dependence on fossil fuels, Canada is steadily progressing toward becoming a leader in electric mobility. However, the looming threat of trade disruptions with the US has led Canada to seek opportunities in the EU, which has become an increasingly important strategic partner. This shift is essential for safeguarding Canada's success in the electric vehicle market and securing its place in the evolving green economy on the global stage. With Canada's EV market growing rapidly, could the looming tariffs from the US threaten this success? Let's explore how the US tariffs may affect Canada's electric future and why Canada needs to pivot. The looming threat of US tariffs on Canadian vehicles and metals. The threat of US tariffs on Canadian vehicles and metals has escalated under President Donald Trump's administration, significantly impacting trade relations between the two countries. The US has imposed 25% tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum imports, and there is also a looming threat of tariffs as high as 100% on Canadian-made automobiles. Trump has justified these measures by arguing that Canada has unfairly benefited from trade with the US, and that American industries must be protected from foreign competition. These policies have sparked concerns across Canada's economic and industrial sectors, which rely heavily on trade with the US. The automotive industry is vital to Canada's economy. Canada is home to major vehicle manufacturing plants operated by Ford, General Motors, Toyota, and other global automakers. Nearly 75% of Canada's vehicle exports are destined for the US market, making the industry deeply intertwined with American supply chains. If the US were to impose tariffs of up to 100% on Canadian vehicles, it could lead to a dramatic drop in exports, disrupt production, and cause significant job losses. Canadian auto manufacturers would struggle to remain competitive in a market where their products would suddenly become far more expensive due to tariff-induced price increases. The broader economic impact could extend to dealership networks, aftermarket services, and related industries, further exacerbating economic uncertainty. In addition to automobiles, the steel and aluminum sectors are also at risk. Canada is a key supplier of these materials to the US, and the 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports threaten to increase production costs for Canadian manufacturers. The higher costs could reduce Canada's ability to compete in the US market, potentially leading to lower demand for Canadian materials and manufacturing job losses. These effects would extend beyond the automotive industry, impacting sectors like aerospace, construction, and infrastructure development. With steel and aluminum being fundamental to many industries, rising costs could have far-reaching implications for Canada's broader economy. The introduction of tariffs is expected to disrupt supply chains, particularly for companies that rely on just-in-time inventory systems, where parts and components cross the US-Canada border multiple times a day. Tariffs would increase costs, introduce delays, and make Canadian products less attractive to US buyers. The ripple effects could destabilize industries like agriculture and natural resources, both of which depend on seamless trade flows. Additionally, small and medium-sized businesses that rely on cross-border trade could face greater financial strain, forcing them to reconsider operational strategies or even relocate operations. Tesla, a leader in the electric vehicle (EV) market, could also be negatively affected by these tariffs. The company sources various components from Canada and has a growing consumer base there. If tariffs significantly increase the cost of Tesla vehicles, competitors may gain an advantage by offering more affordable alternatives. Additionally, Tesla may be forced to reconsider its pricing strategies or shift production to avoid additional costs.
With the new Model Y was to take the best-selling vehicle on the road and make it better.
Further complicating the EV market landscape in North America, the increased prices on imported EV components could also slow the adoption of electric vehicles in Canada, hindering efforts to transition toward a greener economy. In response to these economic threats, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced potential retaliatory tariffs on US imports. The Canadian government is also accelerating efforts to diversify its trade relationships to mitigate reliance on the US market. Strengthening economic ties with the European Union and other global trade partners is seen as a crucial step toward reducing vulnerability to US trade policies. However, such shifts take time, and in the short term, Canadian industries must navigate the immediate challenges posed by US tariffs. The ongoing trade tensions between the US and Canada highlight the fragile nature of their economic relationship. While the US seeks to protect domestic industries, Canada faces significant challenges in maintaining its economic stability in the face of escalating tariffs. The coming months will be critical in determining whether negotiations can ease these tensions or if both nations will continue down a path of heightened trade conflict. Businesses, workers, and policymakers alike will need to adapt to these evolving trade dynamics, ensuring that industries remain resilient in an increasingly protectionist global economy. As Canada faces the threat of US tariffs, the need for a new trade strategy is clear. Could a partnership with the European Union be the answer? We'll take a closer look at how this shift could reshape Canada's electric vehicle market.
Little design things here, isn't it? Because it's not just about design, it's about aerodynamics, correct?
The European Union. In response to the growing threat posed by potential US tariffs, Canada has pivoted toward the European Union, EU, as a critical trade partner. Canada and the EU have long enjoyed a favorable relationship, particularly through the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, which has reduced tariffs and opened new trade avenues. However, the recent escalation of US tariff threats has pushed Canada to strengthen its relationship with the EU even further, especially in the context of its expanding electric vehicle sector. The EU represents a massive potential market for Canada's automotive and EV industry. The EU is one of the largest global markets for electric vehicles, and it has ambitious plans to increase EV adoption in the coming years. Europe's stringent environmental regulations and its push for a green economy align well with Canada's commitment to a sustainable future through electric vehicles. By tapping into this market, Canada can find new opportunities for its auto industry, counterbalancing the uncertainty posed by US trade policies. Expanding its exports to the EU would not only provide Canadian manufacturers with greater stability, but also ensure that the nation remains a key player in the global transition to electric transportation. One of the key advantages of the EU as a trade partner is its regulatory environment. While the US has historically been Canada's largest trading partner, its trade policies have been unpredictable, particularly under Trump's administration. The EU, on the other hand, has a more stable trade environment and is more aligned with Canada's environmental and trade policy goals. CETA has already reduced tariffs on many goods, including vehicles and vehicle parts, which benefits both Canadian manufacturers and EU consumers. By expanding this partnership, Canada can continue to grow its automotive and EV industries without the looming threat of tariffs and market instability. The EU also provides access to a rich ecosystem of technology and innovation, especially in the green energy and electric mobility sectors. Canada and the EU share similar values when it comes to sustainability, and this partnership could foster joint ventures in EV manufacturing, research, and battery production. The EU's market is also highly receptive to electric vehicles, thanks to favorable government incentives, growing infrastructure for EV charging, and increasing consumer demand for environmentally friendly alternatives to traditional gasoline-powered vehicles. Strengthening ties with the EU could encourage more Canadian businesses to invest in clean energy and green technology, further cementing Canada's role in the global EV supply chain. This move toward the EU is not just about shifting markets. Canada's engagement with the EU also signals its broader goal of diversifying its trade relationships and reducing its dependency on the US. It is a long-term strategy to create new opportunities for Canadian businesses, particularly in green technologies. Canada's vast resources, including the critical minerals needed for EV batteries, position the country as an essential player in the global supply chain. By strengthening ties with the EU, Canada is positioning itself as a crucial partner in the global green economy, ensuring long-term economic stability even in the face of unpredictable US trade policies. This strategic shift will not only provide immediate relief from economic uncertainty, but also solidify Canada's role as a leader in the global clean energy transition. Canada's shift towards the EU opens new opportunities, but to truly compete globally, the focus now turns to strengthening its EV manufacturing. How is Canada positioning itself to become a major player in the global EV market? Stay tuned as we explore the strategies behind this ambitious goal. Canada's EV manufacturing strategy. One of the major goals of Canada's electric vehicle strategy is to build a robust domestic manufacturing sector that can compete on the global stage. As the country pivots toward a greener future, developing the infrastructure to support EV production is critical. Canada's existing manufacturing capabilities in the automotive industry give it a competitive edge in this transition, but the challenge lies in shifting from traditional internal combustion engine vehicles to electric vehicles in a way that maximizes its potential. To facilitate this shift, Canada has placed significant emphasis on developing battery manufacturing capacity, which is one of the most crucial components of EV production. The country is rich in critical minerals such as lithium, nickel, cobalt, and graphite, all of which are vital for creating high-performance EV batteries. This not only allows Canada to be a major supplier to global manufacturers, but also opens the door to creating value-added industries within Canada itself. In addition, battery manufacturing in Canada would reduce its reliance on imports from other countries, providing a more secure and sustainable supply chain. As part of its strategy, Canada has already begun attracting major international investments in EV battery production. For example, General Motors, GM, and Stellantis have committed to investing in new battery plants in Ontario as part of their transition to electric vehicles. This is a direct response to the increasing global demand for EVs and the need for a reliable source of locally produced batteries. By creating a supply chain that can support both local production and export to global markets, Canada is positioning itself to become a critical player in the EV ecosystem. Furthermore, Canada's automotive industry is undergoing a significant transformation, with traditional manufacturers shifting their focus to EV production. This includes the retrofitting of existing plants to accommodate electric vehicle assembly and the development of new facilities dedicated to producing EVs. This transformation requires a skilled workforce that can meet the technical demands of EV production. which is why Canada has been investing heavily in training and upskilling workers. The growth of a skilled workforce will allow the country to compete effectively with other global leaders in electric mobility, such as China, the US, and Europe. One of the critical elements of Canada's EV manufacturing strategy is the establishment of gigafactories to meet the growing demand for electric vehicles. These large-scale factories are essential for producing the batteries needed to power electric cars. By investing in gigafactories, Canada aims to ensure that it remains competitive in the global EV market. Moreover, gigafactories would create thousands of high-paying jobs, benefiting local economies and contributing to the country's economic growth. However, Canada's pivot to the EU market could present both opportunities and challenges for its domestic manufacturing strategy. The EU is home to many leading automakers, including Volkswagen, BMW, and Daimler, all of whom are significantly ramping up their production of electric vehicles. This means that Canadian manufacturers will face stiff competition when it comes to securing market share in Europe. Nevertheless, Canada's rich resource base, established trade agreements, and growing domestic manufacturing capacity position it as a valuable partner for European companies seeking to transition to electric mobility. In addition to the manufacturing shift, Canada is also enhancing its EV infrastructure, particularly with regard to charging stations. A robust network of charging stations is critical to encouraging the adoption of electric vehicles, as consumers need to feel confident that they can charge their cars conveniently and efficiently. As part of its green transition, the Canadian government has committed to significantly expanding its EV charging infrastructure. This will play a pivotal role in boosting the adoption of electric vehicles, particularly in rural and remote areas where charging stations have traditionally been scarce. Canada's strategy to position itself as a global leader in the electric vehicle market, both in terms of production and infrastructure, is a forward-looking plan that seeks to capitalize on the growing demand for electric vehicles worldwide. The deal with the EU plays a critical role in this strategy, as it not only opens up a new and important market for Canadian-made EVs, but also aligns Canada's efforts with global environmental goals. By continuing to build on its domestic manufacturing capacity, Canada can become a major player in the future of electric mobility. With Canada ramping up its own EV production, what does this mean for Tesla's dominance in the market? The impact on Tesla. Tesla has long been the dominant player in the electric vehicle market, not only in North America but globally. The company's rapid growth, innovative technology, and expansion into markets like China and Europe have made it the face of the EV revolution. However, with Canada's recent shift toward the European Union and its aggressive push to develop a domestic EV industry, Tesla's market dominance in Canada may soon face a serious challenge. Tesla's position in the Canadian market has been strong, with the company enjoying a significant share of the EV market. Its vehicles are highly sought after, largely due to their reputation for performance, range, and cutting-edge technology. However, Tesla is not invulnerable, and its market share could shrink as more competitors enter the market. As Canada strengthens its ties with the EU, local manufacturers ramp up production, Tesla may face more competition from European automakers, which are increasingly focusing on electric vehicles. European automakers like Volkswagen, BMW, and Audi are already making significant strides in the EV market. With Canada looking to pivot toward the EU, these companies are well positioned to take advantage of the reduced tariffs and increased access to Canadian consumers. The EU trade deal could provide these automakers with the incentive they need to aggressively expand their EV offerings in Canada, putting pressure on Tesla to maintain its market share. Additionally, Canada's growing EV manufacturing capacity presents a unique challenge to Tesla. The Canadian government is investing in gigafactories and battery production facilities, which could lead to the emergence of new domestic players in the EV market. These new manufacturers may offer competitive prices and features that appeal to Canadian consumers, potentially diverting attention away from Tesla's offerings. Increased government incentives and partnerships with European automakers could make Canadian-made EVs an attractive option for consumers, further intensifying competition. Despite these challenges, Tesla still holds a strong position in Canada. Its supercharger network is one of the most extensive in the country, which gives it a significant edge when it comes to providing convenient charging infrastructure. Moreover, Tesla's vehicles are still highly regarded for their innovative features, including advanced driver assist systems, over-the-air software updates, and high performance. However, with increased competition from both European and domestic manufacturers, Tesla will have to work harder to maintain its dominance. The proposed tariffs from the United States are also a factor in Tesla's future in Canada. If the tariffs were to be enacted, Tesla's ability to sell vehicles in Canada could be severely affected. The cost of Tesla vehicles could rise significantly, making them less attractive to Canadian consumers. In such a scenario, Tesla could find itself losing market share to other manufacturers who are not as heavily affected by trade tariffs. Furthermore, if Canada increases incentives for domestically produced EVs, Tesla may face additional pressure to localize production to remain competitive. Tesla's response to the changing dynamics in Canada will be crucial. The company may be forced to adjust its pricing strategy, increase its local production capacity, or seek new ways to differentiate itself from competitors. This could involve strategic partnerships with Canadian suppliers, expanding its charging network, or further improving battery efficiency to maintain its competitive edge. The company's ability to innovate and adapt to the rapidly changing EV market will determine whether it can maintain its position as the leader in electric mobility. As Canada strengthens its ties with the EU and develops a more independent EV industry, Tesla will need to navigate these evolving challenges carefully to remain a dominant force in the market. Could Tesla's reign in Canada come to an end? Let's explore how the EU deal and local competition might shake up Tesla's dominance in the Canadian EV market. The EU as a strategic partner. Why this deal matters. For Canada, the decision to deepen trade ties with the European Union was not just a response to the threat of US tariffs, but a long-term strategy to secure its position as a leader in the green economy. The EU, with its ambitious environmental goals and established green energy initiatives, is an ideal partner for Canada as it shifts its focus toward electric vehicles and sustainability. The EU is already a global leader in the EV market, with countries like Norway, the Netherlands, and Germany setting ambitious goals for EV adoption. European automakers have committed billions of dollars to developing electric vehicle fleets, and the continent's charging infrastructure is growing rapidly. For Canada, tapping into this market presents a significant opportunity to diversify its trade relationships and increase its exports of electric vehicles and critical minerals used in EV production. The EU is also an important partner in the development of clean technologies. By deepening its trade relations with Europe, Canada gains access to cutting-edge technologies and research that can help accelerate the transition to electric mobility. The EU's commitment to green energy aligns closely with Canada's climate goals, and both regions are likely to benefit from collaboration on new energy solutions, sustainable manufacturing practices, and innovative transportation technologies. Beyond trade in goods, the EU offers Canada access to a network of government incentives, research partnerships, and investment opportunities that could benefit its EV industry. As European automakers push to electrify their fleets and governments invest heavily in EV infrastructure, Canada stands to gain significantly from its new partnership with the EU. This collaboration could foster the development of joint ventures and new business opportunities, enabling Canada to strengthen its position as a global leader in electric vehicle production. Ultimately, the EU represents an attractive alternative to the United States as a trading partner, especially for the automotive and clean energy sectors. With the growing demand for electric vehicles worldwide, Canada's strengthened relationship with the EU could help position it at the forefront of the global green economy. Challenges and opportunities. Navigating Canada's future EV landscape. While the trade deal with the EU presents significant opportunities for Canada, there are also challenges that must be navigated in the coming years. Expanding Canada's presence in the European market will require overcoming competition from both local manufacturers and other global players. Moreover, Canada's shift toward a greener economy will demand significant investments in infrastructure, technology, and human capital. One of the most pressing challenges is the logistics of exporting EVs to Europe. Although the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, has reduced many tariffs between Canada and the EU, shipping costs and logistical barriers could still pose significant obstacles. For example, shipping a vehicle across the Atlantic can be costly, and additional tariffs on certain goods may still apply in some markets. However, these challenges can be mitigated by establishing manufacturing hubs in Europe and increasing local production capacity. This would not only reduce shipping costs, but also allow Canadian manufacturers to benefit from local subsidies and incentives for green technologies. Canada's success in exporting EVs to Europe will also depend on the competitiveness of its domestic products. While Canadian-made vehicles have a reputation for quality, the market in Europe is already saturated with leading EV manufacturers like Volkswagen, BMW, and Renault. Canadian automakers will need to ensure that their vehicles meet the high standards of European consumers, while also offering innovative features, affordability, and strong performance. This will require continued investment in research and development, as well as a commitment to sustainability and cutting-edge technology. While challenges lie ahead for Canada's EV future, the opportunities are equally significant. Now, let's take a deeper look at how this game-changing deal with the EU could reshape global trade and position Canada as a leader in the green economy. The long-term impact. Will Canada's EV deal with the EU redefine global trade? The long-term impact of Canada's trade deal with the EU goes beyond the electric vehicle market. This agreement is part of a broader effort to reshape Canada's role in the global economy and establish the country as a leader in green technologies. As the global market shifts toward clean energy and electric mobility, Canada is positioning itself to take advantage of the growing demand for sustainable solutions. The deal with the EU also has broader geopolitical implications. As global trade tensions continue to rise, countries are increasingly looking to diversify their trade relationships and reduce their dependence on any one market. Canada's strengthened ties with the EU are a step in this direction, helping the country hedge against potential risks associated with its dependence on the US market. As the electric vehicle market continues to grow, Canada's ability to capitalize on this trend will determine its future economic success. The EU deal provides a clear path forward for Canadian manufacturers, offering access to a market that is eager to embrace clean technologies. However, success will depend on Canada's ability to compete with other global players, navigate logistical challenges, and continue investing in sustainable infrastructure. Ultimately, Canada's pivot to the EU marks a significant shift in the country's trade policy and economic strategy. As the world moves toward a greener future, Canada's strong position in the electric vehicle and clean technology sectors will play a key role in shaping its future on the global stage. Thanks for tuning in. Canada's shocking EV deal with the EU could spell the end of Tesla's dominance in the market. With this game-changing shift, Canada is making moves to secure its place in the global green economy. What do you think this deal means for the future of electric vehicles and global trade? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting updates on the EV revolution.